dandelion is an extremely important plant. I love it because I'm a bad girl and I make wine out of it, out of the blossoms. And the little blossoms in the spring, you can take those and you can pull all the little yellow things off and eat it. And you can sprinkle it on salads. That was taught to me by a little 4-year-old. She decorated our salad with a dandelion flower that we picked on a walk. And stinging nettle, although you have to be careful how you pick it, can be boiled and eaten. Stinging nettle is also an important plant because it has a lot of medicinal value. The plantain is edible, and it also is nutritious. I don't know if you know what the plantain, there's 2 types. There's the broadleaf plantain, and then there's the longleaf plantain. And if you get a book out of the library that says Edible Plants of BC, you can learn a lot more because there's, out in the bush, there's food all around you. And in the spring, berries, yes, and throughout the year, there are all different types of berries. Also, the leaves on your huckleberry plant, your blueberry plant, are very medicinal, but they can also just be eaten. You can eat the leaves off of the plant also. If you don't find any berries on a huckleberry bush, you can eat the leaves. So don't go hungry out there. Best of all, don't get lost. And if you get lost, don't get lost without water, because that's one of the most important things. We can go for a long time without eating, but we can't really survive without having water. And some places, if the water is not really good and you can get some moss, whether it's off a tree or anything, and you have a way of holding, having the moss there, you can pour your water through the moss and that'll filter out a lot of the impurities so that the water will become potable. But I guess the best thing is if we go out there and you all see how many plants you can recognize, how many you can say what it's good for, and then we are going to see if we can find either some dandelions, and we can take the roots and we can make tea out of that. We can also make tea out of the roots of the Oregon grape. How many of you have seen Oregon grape? I know what it is.
You just learned it the last time.
Don't try and eat the berries raw. It's disgusting. But they can be made into one of the most beautiful jellies that exist. The Oregon grape jelly is just delicious. And but raw, they're not so good. And let's see what well, I guess the best thing is if we're ready, we can go because we have got the most gorgeous day. Here we have Oregon grape, which looks like a little bit like the holly. And that's the one that has the big purple clusters of berries in the spring that turn really quite dark. They are not edible raw because they really taste horrible, but they make wonderful jams and jellies. The root of this particular plant can be dug up and cleaned off, bruised, and made into a tea, which is very nutritious. The red willow, your red willow bushes are another good source of making tea. You can, did you know that that is where the big drug companies got their acetylsalicylic acid, which is aspirin? So if you're hurting when you're lost, find yourself some red willow, strip the bark, mash it, and put some boiling water over it, and you've got an excellent source of pain relief. Gee whiz, I didn't know I was going to remember all this. But that's why I say, wherever we go, we're surrounded by medicines and food. So that's why it's important to learn those things, especially if you decide you want to become a naturalist and be out in the woods. See, I think that's all red willow over there that stands out so nicely. The horsetail, there you go. Like I say, we didn't have this on the prairies, but I've learned about it since here. And there's two types of horsetail. There's the tall horsetail and the short horsetail. And I believe it's the short horsetail that you can make a drink out of. Okay.
It's one of the things I'd call a weed.
Pardon?
In my garden, it's a weed.
In your garden, it's a weed?
Yeah.
Well, everything was a weed at once until we domesticated it.
Yeah.
I mean, we were weeds too when we grab some of that for us and see if it tastes like licorice.
It's got a little hint
Very
of licorice.
slight hint of the licorice in there. Mm-hmm. But I think it's the wrong time of the year.
Yeah. I think so too.
Yeah. Oh, now I can smell the taste of licorice.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's down in the wood.
Yeah. Yeah. Stinging nettle, if you have arthritis, like for me, if I go and rub my finger in stinging nettle, it will take the pain out of arthritis and help your arthritis to heal. Any other part of your body that it touches is affected and will have little bumps and be very itchy and sore. But for people with arthritis, like especially in like the knee, if you go and you rub your knee in the stinging nettle, it's very beneficial. That's how the elders used to do it in long ago. So stinging nettle can also be picked when it's young, boiled as spinach, very nutritious, and you can use the roots. But remember, anytime you are gathering anything in the wild, only take what you need and leave the rest for someone else that maybe has a need for it, and for the plant to regenerate itself so that it's not destroyed. That is one of the most important things, is never take more than what you need at that particular time. It's Mother Nature's larder, and we have to protect it. We have to know that there are other people coming behind us that maybe need the same things that we are needing right now. So, number one, never trample plants. Always be mindful of where your feet are going and mindful of keeping things protected. That's what we are. We are Mother Earth's protector. And if we see somebody else doing damage, then it's up to us to say, oh no, let's not do that. Okay, just get a hold of one, maybe this one that's right down here. It might be, no, the prickly one.
Oh, the prickly.
And I told her no, and she
Okay, this thing is safe.
Well, we'll get one inside. We can go. We can walk outside the classroom too.
Now, if you're out in the woods and there is no place to wash it in that way, and water is at a premium, you can set it in the sun, let it dry, and then just brush off all the dirt and till it's pretty clean. Then try putting a little bit of water over it to get off any of the rest of it. Okay. Hope I don't wreck her. Okay, now. Oh, this is tough. This is a good hard root. We might need a hatchet to whack this up. And we're going to put this in also, Haley. We're going to put this. It's steeped. No, well, now, I'm brave, so being as I'm the one that conned you into this, I will take the first sip. And then everybody can come up and get a spoon, and maybe we'll have to rewash some of them, and then you can have a little taste. But I'll taste it first. If I choke and gasp and fall on the floor, don't drink it, okay? It is very bitter, but it's not that bitter that you can't stand it. I've always been interested in healing, and the greatest healer and the one thing that will eventually cure you is your own body. That's why we have to take care of it, why we have to use, before we're sick, is to drink the roots of dandelion. We have to drink some of this terrible tasting stuff and eat fresh fruit, fresh vegetables, and as much of it as you can eat raw because it contains and keeps more of its nutrients. This is my life. This is, since I was a little kid like that, my grandmother taught me, and she never got an education because in southern Manitoba, where her father was part French, she couldn't go to school because her mother was Cree. So he moved them to a Cree settlement, and she couldn't go to school there because her father was part French. And so she was denied an education. She could not read nor write, but she spoke 5 languages fluently. And she was the most respected woman in our community because she knew how to heal just about anything. And I know now that the one man that came to her with ulcerated legs, that they were going to cut off it, the doctors wanted to cut off his legs, she cured him. And she cured him with the root of a water lily plant that I had to go out with my little boat and rescue out of the swamp and bring home. And within 3 months, she had that man's legs looking like a new little baby's bottom. They were just beautiful, clean, and pink. And now I know what that was wrong with his legs was cancer. So my grandmother cured cancer. And there's many ways of curing cancer that the doctors won't even try. But go to an Indian medicine woman and she'll help you. Just remember, these are the best days of your life, and the more you can cram up into here, the better off you are. Thank you.